Greetings from Kimberley. You know, there are moments in life when we have to reflect. Maybe because you are confronted with the loss of a loved one, or perhaps you are dealing with a life-threatening illness, or the birth of a child, perhaps a marriage. Or maybe it's just old age creeping up on you, and you need to get your spiritual affairs in order. Certainly in my case, it's a combination of most of these. And then you throw into the mix 3 years of living in rural Kimberley and the isolation of COVID, and you have a perfect recipe for deep reflection and contemplation. So the other day I was imagining being in the spiritual world and chilling, catching up with friends and family, and then being called for my turn in the reflection room. Now imagine that the reflection room is a room where you go to and you sit through a 10-minute video presentation, highlights, lowlights reel of your time on earth. And you hope and pray that the highlights portion is longer than the lowlights portion. Otherwise, you're in deep trouble. I imagined standing in the queue waiting for my turn, how I would be feeling. Would I be quietly, humbly confident? Or would I be terrified, petrified, anxious, just want to run away as fast as possible? How would you be feeling standing in that queue? Now at the age of 60, now that my parental responsibilities of food and clothing and shelter, education and independence, compassion, love and respect, and all the other life skills have been passed on to our children, my thoughts have turned to this concept of eternal happiness. You know, my greatest regret as a human being is that insufficient time and effort and energy has been invested in expressing, encouraging, and motivating a greater thirst and quest for a deeper spiritual awareness and belief in this concept of eternal happiness. By developing a deeper spiritual awareness and consciousness and believing in a life after death, God, and eternal happiness, I will have succeeded more fully in executing my own spiritual regeneration and parental responsibilities. We are all going to go on this amazing journey from this world into the next. How and when, we don't know. But just as we prepare ourselves for a long journey in this world, maybe to another country, so too should we not prepare ourselves for our journey into the next world. Is our passport up to date and in order? What is a spiritual passport? What does it look like? What about our ID, our driver's license, our vaccination certificates? My spiritual paperwork is in arrears. I'm behind. I need to play catch up. I need to get my spiritual affairs in order. We are all on our own spiritual path and journey. No two journeys are the same. But perhaps there's a roadmap or a framework that Joel and Malcolm could share with us. And what better way to kickstart this process than by having a blessing on our confirmation? Alison and I had a blessing on our marriage a couple of years ago, and the blessing on our marriage was a far more spiritual, meaningful experience than the actual wedding 30 years ago. It's so easy to get distracted by all the external stuff at a wedding, and this blessing in the Transkei at sunset on the beach with close friends and family was a beautiful, moving spiritual experience. And so I would like to push this idea touched on by Joel a couple of weeks ago for a blessing on confirmation. Now, I'm not suggesting that we all head to the Transkei at sunset and get blessed on the beach, though this is not a bad idea. But what I am suggesting is that and I believe many of us, would certainly be encouraged and benefit enormously from participating in such a ceremony. The rededication and recommitment in front of God to the uses and confessions of faith would be a small step in getting my spiritual affairs in order. You know, the Hylton that was baptized 60 years ago and the Hylton that was confirmed as a teenager is not the same Hylton at the age of 60. The spiritual regeneration pathway that I'm now on is very different to the pathway that I was on 45 years ago. And so I am encouraging all of us to develop a thirst to know more, to understand better, and believe deeper. To be open, to challenge, to inquire, and to build into our lives a spiritual awareness, gratitude through prayer, reading, discussion, and thinking. Our journey to spiritual awareness can be so much more meaningful when shared with a life partner. There is a life after death, and taking time to explore and better understand these teachings will give us great comfort when dealing with many of the challenges of life. I'm encouraging that we spend more time thinking. It doesn't matter what about: our relationships, our fears, our dreams, our aspirations, our passions, our God. We may choose a tough path, steep and windy and rocky. We may choose a more gentle path with pretty views along the way. We may jump paths from time to time. Whatever path we choose, give it 100%. Do not be afraid. Love and be loved. Invest in your spiritual regeneration. Not if, but when you fall off the horse, get up and get right back on. Push through, push hard, and push back. It is through loving and being loved that we can truly bring meaning into our lives. And so finally, I say this with absolute conviction. The only explanation plausible for creation, nature, and life is God. All that we are, all that we do, all that we think, and all that we say will come with us to the next life. We will meet again. I will recognize you, and we will see and know each other. I will hold you and love you and know you in the life after death, just as I have loved you on this earth. God bless from Riverton. And when it comes to our turn to stand in the queue for the Reflection Room video presentation, let us all stand tall and at peace, quietly and humbly confident, knowing that we have led a good life on this earth and are ready to enter God's heavenly kingdom. Take care from Kimberly.